It's about an hour or so from my last video, and we're gonna just basically see how today is gonna start out and what's gonna happen throughout the day. It's July 5th, the day after Independence Day. Independence from what? Tyranny. From an out-of-control government. Unfortunately, that's what we have today. Yep. So I'll be talking to whoever might be actually watching this video. Look at that. Look at that. Stops. Starts, stops, starts. Those aren't contrails, my friends. Those are chemtrails. Or as the academia likes to call it, geoengineering, aerosol spraying. Harvard, Princeton, other universities have talked about this for a long period of time. Geoengineering, how to cool the earth from the constant warming that is occurring. At least that's what they say. And they're speculating that the only way to do it is through aerosol spraying, which is seeding. Similar to cloud seeding, you basically spray aerosol metals, mostly aluminum and borium and some others, into the sky to reflect the sun's heat and the sun's rays. This is legit. They post it all the time. You'll see it on news feeds all the time, but they always talk about how they're look at that, sorry. Look at that. That's a contrail. Look at that. That's leftover jet fuel that freezes in the air and then evaporates. That's normal, okay? That's not normal. And I have probably hundreds of videos at this point talking about these issues, and most people call me a conspiracy theorist because they don't want to do the homework, they don't want to do any research, they don't want to know the truth, they want to live in their fake bubble that they're free, that they have liberty here in America, and the truth is that it's just a facade. The real truth is that we're actually living way below our means. We're not even living close to how our founders wanted us to live, which is where the government serves us. Right now, we're the servants. We're the slaves. They don't tell us what's going on, they just force it upon us. And then they use their cohorts, many of which are in academia, up at the top levels, to talk about how they're going to save the planet, but they never talk about how they're actually not only doing it now, but have been doing it for a long period of time. Not the professors. This is a government organization. Now you might be asking yourself, how could this possibly be true? People would know. This is the most common response that I get. If this was true, everybody would know. Well, if you look back on history, most of the things that the government has done in the dark and in secret, most people don't know until it's been declassified. Like the downwinders, where the government actually detonated atomic bombs in Nevada, but they specifically waited until it blew into southern Utah before they detonated those weapons, because they wanted to see what the radiation would do to the communities in southern Utah. Of course, the residents of southern Utah didn't know about this until after it was happening. They were told that it was completely safe and they had nothing to worry about. So this argument that always seems to come about, which is, if this was really true, we would all know about it. Well, I'm telling you about it, and there's other people that have been trying to tell you about it, and really, to be honest with you, no one really wants to listen. Now, I'm up on my roof right now because with all the trees, it's really hard to get a good view, but the sky was completely blue this morning, and you'll see, because I've got the day off, I'll be showing you how the whole sky will turn white. And you might be wondering, well, who exactly is doing this? And why are they doing this? That's another question that I get all the time. Well, why would someone actually poison the earth? Why would someone actually spray toxic metals in the sky? What's the whole purpose of it? Well, they're weather weapons. This is the same type of technology that actually existed during the Vietnam War that they experimented in Vietnam. You can look it up. I can't remember what the operation was called, but it was declassified. You can look it up, weather warfare in Vietnam. And we basically did aerosol spraying to control the weather. We thought it would give us an advantage over the Viet Cong. And this is true. And no one knew about it at the time except for the pilots that were flying those missions. And the ones that are actually dispersing these chemicals in the sky today are pilots, and they're military pilots, and they're actually told that they need to do this to protect the United States. Whistleblowers that actually, there's not many of them, because in all honesty, most of these pilots are completely and totally just brainwashed. They think that they're actually doing good, but the ones that actually know that this is harmful have tried to blow the whistle on this, but unfortunately they're not brave enough, like our founding fathers, to really go all the way. They don't want to obviously lose their jobs or their positions. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want to end up like so many others that have actually blown the whistle on our secret government and the dark works that occur there through the Pentagon and the other black op organizations. They usually end up in jail or dead. Manning is a good example of that, who exposed the lies. You've got WikiLeaks. Assange, the founder, of course, he's in prison now. See, this is the message that the government always delivers. If you tell others what's really going on, we will imprison you. Thank goodness Barack Obama got rid of habeas corpus. You no longer have to be tried by a jury of your peers. The government just comes in with secret courts and secret judges and takes you away indefinitely. You think that's false? Look it up. I talked about this in the NDAA bill that was passed by Barack Obama, where he got rid of those rights. We barely have any rights, truly, at least on paper anymore. They haven't actually fully incorporated the backdoor traps that they've initiated in law. A lot of them are not effective, but they're on the books. You might think everything just continues as normal, but that actually isn't true. There's backdoor dealings going on all the time to steal away your rights. And there's only a little bit that we have left at this point. Most people don't know because life just carries on as usual. For instance, how could they possibly be spraying all of these chemicals in the sky if we truly were free, if we truly were protected by our government, if we truly had checks and balances? There's a secret organization that exists, many different compartments of it. They're working in tandem with each other, but don't always know what the other one is doing. And this is to protect anyone from really exposing the truth of what is really going on. Now, what is so interesting, again, that most people don't know about because the media won't tell you, is that there has been trillions of dollars that has been found missing in the budget. Trillions of dollars missing in the budget. And this actually happened in Obama's administration. You can look it up. Catherine Austin Fitts actually found it. She was a head financial advisor for the Bush administration, Bush Jr., and she found out that there was some really scandalous criminal activity that was going on in certain parts of the government. And when they found out, meaning when Bush's administration found out that she was about to expose the corruption in government, they got rid of her. Well, that didn't stop Catherine Austin Fitts, who's a true patriot. You can look her up and find out that the information that she actually shares is completely legit. and actually has been backed up. Recently, like I said, she found that $5 trillion, 5 trillion people, $5 trillion was actually missing in the Pentagon budget. The Pentagon budget, $5 trillion was missing. And I can't remember which department under the Pentagon. I don't know if it was the Army. I think it was the Army. But either way, she found out that it was missing. It was untrackable. So a professor at the University of Minnesota thought it was insane that you could actually make an accounting error of $5 trillion. So he called Catherine Austin Fitts and asked her to send him the information and all the data so that he could double check it, because he thought it was like ridiculous. You cannot make an accounting error of $5 trillion. Well, guess what? The professor at the University of Minnesota found out. It was true. That's right. There is $5 trillion missing. Well, it gets better than that. He decided that he was going to help Catherine Austin Fitts to figure out how much money in total was actually missing or unaccounted for in the Pentagon. And do you know what they came up with, people? And this is true. You can look it up. Over $20 trillion is unaccounted for in the Pentagon's books. 20 trillion. Now, just so you understand what 20 trillion is, America is in debt. Over 20, I think it's 22 or a little bit above that. $22 trillion is our deficit right now. And that took years. $22 trillion. It's almost incomprehensible how much money that is. Well, the Pentagon has $20 trillion unaccounted for, almost as much as America is in deficit. Now just think about that for a second. They don't know where the money is. When they pushed the Pentagon, the University of Minnesota professor and Catherine Austin Fitts, when they pushed the Pentagon on giving them documents describing where this money had gone, the Pentagon erased all of the information they had on the internet. And you don't hear about it in the media, do you? Yeah, they don't want to know that $20 trillion is missing. And where do you think that money's going? If it's untrackable and no one knows where it went, do you think possibly that they could probably fund a program like this, the one I'm showing you right now? Chemtrails, geoengineering? Do you think that they could hire pilots and actually pollute the skies by spraying metals into the sky and actually changing the weather patterns? Which, by the way, they do. If you want to look up HAARP, which I've talked about many times. The government had a program called HAARP where they actually jettisoned material into the sky, just like what I'm showing you now. And they would actually take radio waves and they'd shoot it through the sky and move the particles so that they could change the weather patterns, change the wind, change the direction of the currents in the sky. All kinds of stuff which we actually don't know about. After they were done with that program, they turned it over to the University of Alaska, and now we've got this. That's right. By the way, yesterday in Guadalajara, and you can look this up, Guadalajara, Mexico, they had over 5 feet, that's right, 5 feet of hail. And it was 81 degrees that day. 5 feet of hail. It actually buried semi-trucks. No one could move. Now think about that for a minute. 5 feet of hail, and it was 81 degrees. And by the way, this phenomenon that is happening all over the world with these crazy weather patterns and crazy weather phenomena, where do you think that's coming from? See, nice and blue over there. Those contrails haven't evaporated yet. Why is that? And there's another one starting up. Yep. And this is how it starts. They'll turn it off and turn it on, turn it off and turn it on. Eventually until the entire sky is filled with a white haze. And you're breathing it, and your family's breathing it. And why don't you look this up as well, if you're actually still listening to me. Why is autism's on the rise, dementia's on the rise, all of these what used to be considered rare diseases and abnormalities are now on the rise. Actually, they're skyrocketing. Does anyone know what aluminum will do to the mind? It actually breaks the blood-brain barrier. You can look that up. And it actually causes symptoms of dementia and Alzheimer's. That's right. This is true. Alzheimer's is on the rise, cancer's on the rise, dementia's on the rise, autism's on the rise. Lyme's disease is on the rise. Yep. It's really unfortunate that we have turned over our sovereignty, not only locally, but in our own individual states as well as the federal government. And so many people believe that Trump is going to save us. I think we need to save ourselves. And the only way to do that is actually to admit that there's a problem to begin with. Until we do that, we can never solve the problem until we admit it first. So I just want to say on July 5th today that if you really believe in freedom, first of all, check out if the information that I've given you is actually accurate. And if it's not, you've got nothing to worry about. If it is, then you have a lot to worry about, and it's time to spread the word. These secret programs that exist, these secret combinations, these secret groups that are hell-bent on taking over the world. They call it the New World Order. Bush Sr. was involved, Obama was involved, Bill Clinton was involved, Bush Jr. was involved. I don't know if Trump's involved. I have a hard time believing that he's not to some degree, whether it's ignorantly or not. But we're in deep trouble. And it's time to rise up. Yep, look at that. From horizon to horizon. Those aren't contrails. That's not frozen jet fuel that evaporates into the sky. That's aerosol spraying. And the type of havoc that it is literally creating on the earth is unreal. Yet so many people call me a conspiracy theorist because it's easy. It's so easy just to say that's a conspiracy theory. It's so easy not to do your own research. I've done my own research. All of this is legit. I have not told you anything that is not true. This is all true. Because I care. I don't care about what people think about me. What I want is for people to be free. This is how patriots truly live. They don't care whether they're imprisoned by the government for telling the truth. They blow the whistle, they tell people the truth, and they don't care if they get demonized, they don't care if they get slandered. All they care about is truth and freedom. These groups exist. This is just one of the many things in which they're doing today. They're in all parts of the world, in all parts of the government, in high positions. They work together to further their means of literally enslaving the entire global population. I hope that you will reach out to me if you want to know more. If you don't care, just go on with your daily life. But when the consequences come, don't come to me and tell me I didn't warn you. Go to geoengineeringwatch.org if you want to know more. Dane Whittington, amazing patriot. He can tell you so much more than what I told you just now. He's got literally thousands of hours of video and tons of documents to talk about everything that I just talked about, but I don't have enough time to tell everybody what's going on. I hope you learn for yourself. Happy 4th.